Hi, I'm Dan, your money coach, and today we're going to unpack the best way to buy a car. We're going to be going through all the different secret ways that rich people out there are getting the most out of the car buying experience and making sure they get the most value. The wealthiest people that I've seen buy cars have gone into the dealership, they know what they want ahead of time, they pick up what they need, and they leave. They came on, they pick up their car, and they left. They've already done the research, they know the value, they know what they want. They don't spend a lot of time in the dealership waiting to get upsold on a different product. This is important because there's so many different ways in which you can fall into traps. It's a huge industry and there's a lot of mystery. Not everyone's a car guy. Not everyone's a person out there that is under the hood of a car, knows all the ins and outs, knows where the value is. If you want a general recommendation, Hyundai is the most reliable car rated currently today. I know everyone, especially growing up, thinks about a reliable car. They think of a Toyota Camry. They think of their Honda Accords. Great cars. I agree. No problem. If you need yourself a truck, go ahead and get a Ford F-150. Be my guest. Get a Toyota Tundra. Those are great cars. But in general, if I were to go out today and buy a brand new car, I'd be looking at something that I know that 10 years down the road is going to run smoothly. I'm going to be able to put hundreds of thousands of miles on it, get the most value of it, and that's going to be a Hyundai for me. That may not be appealing to you. Maybe you have a higher income and you're ready to throw more money at a vehicle. Maybe this is something you've been saving up for a long time. I say go for it. You can definitely put money into this. This can be a luxury for you. I have no problem with that. Don't expect it to be an investment. Don't think you're going to turn around, sell it 20 years from now and send your kids to college on it. This is definitely an investment that will depreciate over time. It's not going to appreciate. Most importantly, wealthiest people that I've seen walk into a dealership, they walk in, they know what they want, pick up their car, and they leave. They do a test drive, they know what they're getting, and they're happy to get it there. The second important thing about buying a car that wealthy people do, 50% on people paying cash or getting a loan. If they get a loan, it's a short-term loan. This is something that they expect to be able to pay off a car loan 1, 2, 3 years at the most. So if you're out there and you're shopping for your car and you're thinking, what kind of financing can I get? Interest rates are crazy. This is a tough time. My mortgage is so high anyway. If you're looking at buying a car, make sure that you can pay off the entire car at least within 3 years with your current income. Don't expect to get some big pay raise and say, well, I'll pay this off later and keep kicking the can down the road. This is an important thing that you need to be paying attention to because it can make or break your entire budget if you have a whole bunch of extra debt on something that's going to go down in value as soon as you drive it off the lot. So be able to pay off your car quickly. I'd say be able to do it in a year. So if you're needing a car loan, if you can't pay for it in cash, then figure out, based on the payments that you're going to have to make, how you're going to be able to pay off this car in 12 months' time. If that's 24 paychecks, do the math and figure out where your ratio is for being able to own this car. The third way that wealthy people out there are buying cars is to focus on getting some kind of warranty product. And so I know this is going to be a hot button issue. There's going to be a lot of opinions in the comments, but I tell you what, one of the best values that we've had is a bumper to bumper warranty on a used car. And so this is something where you can invest a couple $1,000s more for the peace of mind to know that that car is going to last you for a long-term solution for you. And so if you're looking at buying a new car and you're going to be financing it, well, consider this an added level of risk mitigation. You're taking some of your liability on something that is a liability, something that you have debt on, and you're going to push that off onto a warranty that's going to be able to at least protect the powertrain. What we're talking about is engine, transmission, the things that make the car go. This isn't necessarily going to help cosmetically, that's going to cost you even more. And so finding out where you're buying this car from and where the best value is for you, as far as making sure that it's taken care of as far as a warranty. One way that you can protect yourself if you're going to buy from an individual and buy a used car in cash, which I definitely support. I think you should try to do that and go shop around. Go and take it to a local trusted mechanic and get them to look over the entire car. It may cost you $100 for them to do a 100-point inspection that's going to look at every aspect of the vehicle and it's going to do a test drive. Use someone who actually knows what they're doing. Every time I ever look at a car, if I'm going to be spending money on it, especially my hard-earned cash, I'm going to have someone who knows what they're doing do a full inspection on the vehicle before I drive it off the lot or before I hand anyone any kind of cash. The next way that wealthy people are investing in vehicles and going and buying a car, they're considering the profit and value of buying and leasing. So if you're looking at a new car, you should consider if you should buy it outright or you should lease it. Many wealthy people out there prioritize purchases over leasing regular cars. This is the cars that they are buying to use on a day-to-day basis. Long-term ownership and leasing for cars are only really considered short-term solutions. They're more likely, on average, to lease luxury cars. So the wealthiest people out there, if they're going to have a lease, it's going to be a short term and it's going to be a luxury vehicle that they wouldn't want to sink a bunch of money into, because the higher the value, the quicker you're going to be able to see that rate of decline. Ultimately, I would prefer that you would avoid leasing a vehicle unless you have a very specific reason to do so. The average person out there does not need to be leasing a car for their day-to-day use. And if this is something where you have a business, or maybe there's a company lease that you're able to use, maybe you're leasing a luxury vehicle because you have a specific reason. Maybe this is a part of, frankly, if it's revenue-seeking behavior, an IPA, an income-producing activity, if that's the case, then it's part of the equation, and then it becomes a math problem. But for everyone else out there, myself included, I don't need to be leasing any vehicles, and I don't need to be trying to leverage up into other types of luxury just to enter into a cycle that's not going to help me in the long run. The next way that wealthy people out there are investing in their car buying experience is considering if they have a business and looking into different tax deductions then they can apply to their car purchase. If you have an LLC, then you need to be looking at how you can be buying furniture, computers, vehicles for that business purpose. And that's important caveat is that I'm not a tax professional, and this is just a general tip for you to look into, is that if you're able to use some of these resources for business purposes, then you can have a very beneficial tax deduction. Just Google out there Graham Stephan Tesla cost. Look at that in the YouTube search bar, and you can find how Graham can rationalize a Tesla purchase for as low as something like $47 a month, I think is what he boiled down to. A lot of that leverage, a lot of the way that he was able to reduce his total perceived cost of owning that luxury vehicle was through taxes. And so really consider the options that you have in front of you for, if you have a business, being able to declare some large purchases like this for a business purpose. So that's going to be an opportunity for you to really maximize your overall car buying experience. And who knows what you could afford if you had an extra 30%. The next way that the wealthy people are hacking the car buying experience is some have figured out that you can register your vehicle in states that have no sales tax on vehicle purchases. So if you're in a state that has a very high cost of sales tax on things like vehicles, and maybe there's additional fees and stuff that you get into, maybe take a look at the last time you bought a car or an example online in your state of what the overall total cost, because when you get in there and you look at the sticker price, you think, wow, that's expensive. And then you get to the end of the experience and you think, wow, I just spent thousands of extra dollars on all kinds of things at the dealership. There are states out there, like, for example, I've heard that Montana or Oregon are states that you can make a purchase and not have tax on that vehicle. Now, let's say that you're buying more than one vehicle. Maybe you have a business again, and you're going to be buying multiple vehicles for that business. Far and away, the easiest way to do this is to either own property or have a business incorporated in one of those states. So this is a big step, and you're going to really have to weigh the cost benefit of incorporating a business in another state with the intent of one of the benefits being that there is no sales tax on things like car purchases. So I can imagine that if you were, let's say, a company that I see these trucks since this hurricane heading down the southeast towards Florida to do relief efforts. So if you're having to own a fleet of 10 of these large F-350 trucks for hurricane relief, are you going to buy or lease? What kind of tax implications are there? Should you have a portion of your business registered? Should you incorporate a business in Montana or Oregon for the benefit of being able to have this large expense tax-free with no sales tax in those areas? So there's a lot of different considerations. You can imagine that within a family budget, it's pretty clear. Like I talked about before, you look at your paycheck and you see what portion of this is going to go towards my transportation cost. Now, if you can keep it 5%, 10%, we're talking about gas, insurance, any kind of debt that you may have on it, that's going to be ideal. But if you're looking at your total income and you say, wow, I'm spending a third of my income on the total cost of getting me from A to B, that's going to be too much. We're going to need to make some hard decisions on where that money's going and whether or not it's worth it. And I'm willing to ask you those tough questions. Is it really worth it? Because what else could you be doing with that money? Now, are you really paying yourself first? Are you really valuing the dollars that you're earning as income? If you're just throwing it away at financing a car that's going down in value, what's it going to feel like 10 years from now? Is it going to be really worth having that one step up of a luxury vehicle now? Or do you want to be able to drive like no one else 10 years from now? And that's the question you're going to have to ask. And so you don't have to necessarily trade in your car for a bike, make an extreme decision in that direction, but it's something that's worth looking at, how much you're putting into your car owning experience, not just the buying, but the ownership of it. And now if you have a business, just like anything else, it's kind of like having a family, and those questions just compound in that direction. If you have any questions, I would love to hear about your car buying experience, about your fears, about your excitement, about what you've been able to accomplish with your overall money journey when it comes to transportation, something that all of us have to experience one way or another as it relates to our budgets.